It's Monday, January 31st. Coming up live on The View. Jumpstart your week with the hottest topics on TV. From which ABC superstars boycott forced Crystal Palin to pull out of a safe sex seminar. And the mom charged with abuse for punishing her 7-year-old with hot sauce. And whether Gabby Gifford's astronaut husband should leave her side and go on the next space shuttle mission. Plus, Mike and Molly star Billy Gardell's talking back to the writer who said she didn't want to see fat people kiss on TV. Critics who say the show is making fun of overweight people. And if he thinks losing weight will mean losing viewers. Then the most notorious Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, Camille Grammer's exposing how wild things get in part 2 of the reunion special tomorrow night. Giving you the real deal behind tabloid headlines about her divorce to Kelsey Grammer. And whether things are gonna get ugly. All that, hot topics and more, coming up live on The View.
Welcome to The View.
They're psyched.
They are psyched. I am psyched also. Now, you may be wondering why I'm wearing a hat.
Yes.
Now, last week when we were talking about the royal wedding,
yes,
a statement was made, who wears hats?
Oh, yes.
I still wear hats.
It's beautiful.
I love my hats. I cannot wear this the entire time inside because it's made of cashmere and I'm hot as hell.
I love that.
But
the highlights match your locks.
Yeah, do they?
The hat. Yes,
oh,
they
nice.
do.
All
yes.
right. And so just to say, all week, I'm going to be wearing hats because I think a hat finishes off one's outfit.
Does it express? Love it. But does it express how you feel? Like when you pick out a hat, is it an expression of how you feel today? This
when
particular
I pick
hat,
out something
why did you pick this hat?
Because it fit. And the other, you know, my hats have to be specially made because
yes,
I have a lot of hair.
Yes.
And so this gentleman in Germany has been making them for me, and I just love them, and they're very indicative of 1900, which I love, and that's why I sort of have on this sort of dress thing.
You are a fashion plate.
I am
the era.
Yes,
I am something.
Well, you got your own thing going
Right now,
on.
you're hot.
And I love that you support the milliner.
I love a good milliner.
Yes, me
but
too.
you know what? Speaking of support, we have a very special announcement to make this morning. Friday, February 11th, the 5 of us will be going to Chicago to do an hour on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Yes. That's all of us. It's Friday, February 11th. So please, you know, watch her, but watch us also because we'll tell you what we're doing.
We very rarely make appearances, all 5 of us together.
Yeah, this is, I think, the first time since maybe 10 years.
Yeah,
we used to do it on
We've
Jay.
never done it together, this group,
No, this
right?
group has not.
No, I don't think so.
We'll have a good time.
Yes. Now, you know, the big headline all weekend has been the massive uprising in Egypt, calling for President Mubarak to step down. Now, experts are saying this could be the beginning of a massive change throughout the Middle East. Now, Barbara, I know you've talked to Mubarak several times. You know, because you've interviewed lots of people. What do you think is going on?
Let me just give a little history, because what I really want to say is, why should I care? You know, when we're when we're planning our subjects and we say, well, why should we care? Let me tell you why we should care. Mubarak came into office when Anwar Sadat was assassinated because he was the vice president. Mubarak has never had a vice president. So you could not have anything that was orderly, whether you liked the vice president or not. He came in a rather democratic way, but then, of course, that has changed. Now, people say, why should I care? If indeed this becomes a radical state, and it may not, and then it can spread to Jordan.
Radical Islamic.
A radical Islamic state. Then you have all of these enemies surrounding Israel.
That's true.
One of the things I want to say about Israel is every time there has been anything that's happened in the Arab world, it's because of Israel and the Palestinians, and there's no Palestinian state. This is all Israel's fault. This has nothing to do with Israel.
Except
that if it becomes an Islamic state, they could abrogate the treaty with Israel. And as far as we were in this terrible position with Mubarak because he has been our ally. Right. He has stood up against al-Qaeda. He has been with us against Iran. He has helped us when we were trying to get rid of Saddam Hussein. What do you do with him? With the Shah of Iran, who was our ally, we told him not to fire on his people. He didn't. We told him to put in democratic reforms. He was too late. He was chased out of the country, and we abandoned him. He was a homeless man who had no place to go
after all the wealth
until he finally died, and Sadat gave him a burial in Egypt. So that we have to encourage Mubarak to leave, but give him some dignity and give him some assurance that we will just not throw him to the...
When you watch all the footage from Egypt, the one thing I feel like so bad for these people, this is a country of King Tut, Cleopatra, Elizabeth Taylor, you know what I mean? We're talking about a country with an incredible history.
It's also a country of NASA, though. You know, they've had their problems.
But the history, the ancient history of Egypt, it's not just some country they made up in the past 100 years. No. It has an incredible history. And those people are so dirt poor. People who go to Israel tell me, when you cross from Israel into Egypt, the poverty is palpable. In Egypt is palpable, the poverty.
But and so almost that's almost every Arab country that doesn't
did not take to do with business what he was supposed to do. Take care of business.
He's been in for 30 years.
And we like him because he keeps Al-Qaeda at bay, Al-Qaeda at bay. He keeps the Islamic fundamentalists at bay. He works with Israel, and that's why we like Mubarak. But now the people are rebelling. And so now what? Obama is in a very precarious position.
They have to encourage him to leave. Hillary Clinton was on every Sunday show, and she could not come out and say, you know, he should be overthrown. We should encourage him to leave, and we should give him some kind of safekeeping so that we haven't just... Well, it's either going to another country, you know, that might take him, maybe even having some kind of a safe haven here. Or
tickets to the Super Bowl, maybe?
We wouldn't allow the Shah to come here. But it's a very precarious...
Why wouldn't we allow the Shah to come here, though?
Because he was so terribly unpopular that if he came here, we were afraid of uprisings here.
So
this is his entire panel.
Can they go into witness protection? I mean, come on.
No, it'll be interesting. This is going to be unfolding every day, so you can be sure we'll be on top of this. You know, now another day, another survey. One of the last one of the latest ones by AOL asked girls 9 to 15 to pick who they think is the worst role model. You know who they chose? Who? Miley Cyrus.
She hasn't even been in rehab yet. What's the problem?
Maybe that photo right there might be part of the problem.
I think it's hard too because you know Miley started Hannah Montana and like a ton of young girls were watching the show, right? So they became like entrenched in her world and in love with her. And I remember as Miley was getting older, and we've had her on the show a couple times when we were out in LA and here, and she's perfectly nice and she's she's going through stuff like normal teens go through. But as a mom, so I see her that way, and then as a mom, you know, she was on our iPod. She was on we'd play the music on the TV and some of the videos would come up. But I mean, I kind of banned her in our household lately because Grace would be like, where's Miley? And I'm like, I don't know. She's not singing anymore.
Miley's smoking a bong. That's where Miley is.
You don't want to tell your 5-year-old.
Every fifth time, I kind of give it a little bit of power.
Send her to Auntie Joy. She'll
be honest. Some sassiness going on.
We went through this with Britney Spears. First she was the heroine, she was the virgin, and then when she changed and got older, we were furious. Miley's trying to have another career. You can't be 12 years old forever. And so that's why she's being criticized for being this sexy little... But, you know, she's got to make her decision. Do I want to have some kind of transition so I can play other roles when I'm 16, 17, 18? Or am I going to be forever...
I guess it seemed like because Hannah Montana is still, I believe, playing, and so I can understand you want to make the transition, but I guess it seemed like it was so sudden from Hannah Montana. Now you're doing a lap dance and smoking a bong. There was no kind of weaning my children away from you.
It's like Shirley Temple went from being a child star to being an ambassador. What happened? Something happened along the way.
Like a little buffer.
She went from child star to no career.
She had a sort of an...
You know, I wonder if there is some responsibility... on the folks who are still making a lot of dough. You know, the show is still on, and she's almost 20.
They're not making new ones, though, Whoopi.
Well, no, but I'm saying they're still showing the old ones, so they're still sort of putting that idea that
Are they
this.
still showing the old?
Yeah, it's still on.
It's a responsibility of parents to be like, it's really hard to do, especially if your kid's 4 and 5, to be like, that's a character, and here's a real person. Characters over here trying on different hair.
Well, that's why I'm saying maybe they should take the show off for a little bit.
But then you're talking about money.
Well,
That's a lot of money.
And
That's
there
a
we
big
are.
machine.
And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And I mean no disrespect, because the parent company, Disney, is our parent company. I mean no disrespect to Disney. I'm simply saying that maybe it's time to give Hannah Montana a rest so that Miley Cyrus can actually make the transition and separate those two things. That's just me, but I'm strange.
What about the idea that you could maybe teach your children there is a difference between acting and reality?
Well,
like
you
you
try
say.
to. I think parents do try to do that.
I say you're not going to listen to the music because it has some words in there. They're not appropriate for 5. Maybe when you're older,
But that's
you
what
can.
Hannah Montana was about.
That's right.
It was about the real Miley Cyrus and the character she played. So you have this, like, the show within the show
It was
within the...
confusing to watch the show, quite frankly.
We don't want you to be confused. This is actually us, and this is what we look like. We will be right back with more Hot Topics. Bristol Palin was taken off the list of guest speakers for Washington University's Sexual Responsibility Week. And one factor that got her uninvited was a Twitter campaign backed by private practice star Kate Walsh, calling for students to boycott Palin's speech on abstinence.
Well, she said she wasn't a proper spokesperson. What did she really know about abstinence after all?
Or going to college.
Or going to college.
Yeah.
Well, she did. Maybe we can get Patricia Heaton to boycott John Boehner from crying every day.
I mean, I think, jokes aside, I think that
Bristol was getting paid for this, so it's a career move.
$20,000.
I think that Kate was wrong myself, because I believe in free speech. This is a free speech issue. If the girl is being invited to talk and she's a proponent of abstinence and maybe it didn't work for her, that's a good story. That's a good story. Why not let her talk?
Kate Walsh is going to be on with us on Thursday, so we can...
I just think, too, a university should be a place where minds are able to explore different sides of an idea. Yes. And I also think that, in terms of... It's strange to me, because I think a lot of that... I read some of the tweets and the posts, and a lot of them seem to be, like, very feminist in terms of the movement. Women should have a choice, and they don't want to have someone paid for, talking about abstinence when it didn't work for her. But it bothers me, too, because I think that this movement that's supposed to be about women sometimes can... and I say this because I have a lot of friends who've been on both sides of it, miss the most primary time for a woman to maintain her power, and that is in saying no to sex to a man who will have control over her once she begins to say yes time and time again.
If she wants to say no. Most of them don't want to say no.
Why are we not? Which I think could be a most empowering movement to try to teach girls, yes, you can say no again and again.
I think also her going over there.
The empowering movement, excuse me, is wearing a condom or a diaphragm or taking the pill.
Because
I disagree, Joy.
It's a
natural thing. It's like eating and sleeping.
It is also empowering to say no.
You know psychology too well. You know that there are effects far beyond, including physical effects, risks that can be, in form of disease, pregnancy, but also emotional and psychological effects on young women and potentially men.
You should be alert to that fact.
Why do we choose to protect women and young kids from obesity and high fructose corn syrup and smoking and drinking, but yet we kind of give in and throw our hands up and say, you know what, they're going to do it anyway when it comes to sex.
Why can't she go to the university to speak as a person? I think if you only allow people who are perfect to speak, you don't see consequences. When this girl gets up, yes, Kate said what does she know about abstinence? You know what? But she knows about the consequences of not abstaining.
Listen, they let the Nazis... There
you go.
Applause break. They let the Nazis march in Skokie, Illinois. They can let Bristol Palin talk at a Planned Parenthood conference.
I mean, because, the thing about it is they have... at this Planned Parenthood conference, they have all of these experts there. This associate professor here and this person there. I think sometimes you just want a real person of your peer group to speak. It's just like Scared Straight. You remember Scared Straight? Do you want to? Who's going to scare you straight? The person in prison or the person who's never been to prison?
I remember being in college and a girl got up and talked to me as a freshman. I came in and she said, she told us this story how she got crazy drunk, got in a cab, woke up the next morning, was ended up raped by the cab driver and stuck somewhere in Boston. And I remember thinking, you know what? I'm going to try really hard not to do that, you know, as best I can. It might have come close a couple times.
But Kate also put out there...
You hear the story of someone who's walked down the road and you think, like you said...
Well, she also put out there, she said, it's, you know, with the Twitter, it's free speech to be free tweeting. And she said, isn't this great that I can tweet my opinion? Which, yeah, that's true. I don't think the college should have been the one to,
that's right.
to cancel.
That's right. It should be about thought, exploring
And also, you know, just because you haven't been to college doesn't mean you don't have a right to speak at the college. That was a little bit, I thought.
Although she was going to school, it was the responsibility of raising this child. You know, she has lived her life as well as she possibly could after this. She's been a good mother, evidently, Dancing with the Stars. You know, she did her best. She has tried to live a life with some dignity.
And now she's trying to earn money.
And she's earning money, and she is, as you said, talking about the consequences. And that's important to know. It's like prisoners, when they come out of jail, go around and say, let me tell you what it's like so that you don't end up where I did.
That's right. And we'll be back with more Hot Topics. A study done by the University of Texas at Austin found half of the men surveyed would forgive their girlfriend for cheating as long as it was with another girl.
And they could watch.
You know, because I think that guys, I think it depends. I think guys would have a problem if the girl cheated with another girl and she looked like John Cena from the WWE. But I think men, I'm serious, I think men, he's one of the biggest WWE wrestlers. I think men always have this fantasy that they think in their mind it's a hot girl, and they always have this fantasy, I could possibly join in.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
But they could also, they would watch Helen Thomas and Madeline Albright in a lesbian relationship.
No, I don't think so.
They'll watch anybody.
The women said they did not want to see their man with another man.
No.
They would rather see their man with another woman. Very different.
I'd rather
because if my guy
for women to watch two men.
But if my guy is messing around with another woman, at least I got the skills. I know another woman. But another man, I don't even know how to combat that. I don't know what to. I'm coming doing this. That don't make no difference to you. I don't know what to do.
It's disarming.
If you tell me you with Jim, I am totally...
But the truth is, you know, if you come doing this and your man's already cheating, clearly it just doesn't mean anything to him.
At least I know how to face another woman.
No, you think you do. No, but none of us, listen, the first thing we want to do with whoever's cheating with who is we want to get the frying pan and match their face to the bottom of it. Okay? That's the first thing. The last thing you're thinking about was, well, it's a guy and I don't know, it's a girl. It doesn't matter. The first thing is I am going to bust your face off.
And then after that,
she doesn't mean it. Theoretically,
no, I think most people who find that their mate is cheating, that's their first, I'm going to go beat them up. I'm going to go rip their face off. That's the first thing you feel.
Yeah, the other thing is that when a guy is with a guy, you're not even jealous. You don't feel anything.
Oh, I don't think so, baby.
Why would you be jealous? You know it has nothing to do with you.
I don't think so.
You're taking apart the emotional, you know, there's a physical component, but there's an emotional one, too, that you would feel like, why loyalty to somebody?
And speaking of emotion, you know, Barbara, I understand that you have a star-studded, fascinating, amazing special airing on Friday.
Yeah, so when you say that, you think that I'm talking about an Academy Award special, which I am not doing.
You are not.
This is a special that will save your life. It's Friday night at 10 o'clock, and it's called A Matter of Life and Death. And in addition to me, it has David Letterman, Robin Williams, Regis Philbin, Charlie Rose, President Bill Clinton, and I'll be showing you pieces of during the week so you can find out what they have in common.
And it's really, truly something we saw. It will change. It will change your life. I'm scared.
Bill Clinton gives very good tips, too, at the end of the thing. I thought that was very elucidating.
And there are tips for women and tips for young people. We show open heart surgery.
You have to see it.
What did you think?
Ladies, women, you have to watch this. Special because it's something like I need to go and get checked out. You as well, Elizabeth.
I mean, it's really fascinating to see the stories of you and then all of these, I mean, incredible men. We're talking former President Bill Clinton and how vulnerable they are. But the fact that I think out of this, can I give a little secret from it? 80% of heart attacks could be prevented by doing simple things.
And the symptoms for women are different from men. I didn't know that.
So you have to carry
an
aspirin with you. It's very important. Well, it will minimize the heart attack effects.
But in fact, just to see Letterman, who almost never does interviews, be this personal. Anyway, I'll show you more of it during the week. And 10 o'clock next Friday.
What do you need to do?
Oh, Play Dead at New York City's Players Theater is the collaboration of magician Teller and showman Todd Robbins. The New York Times has hailed this as a gleefully wicked show. And members of our studio audience, you guys are getting a pair of tickets.
And we will be right back with Mike and Molly star Billy Gardell.
As a big guy with a big heart in love with the girl he met at an Overeaters Anonymous meeting. And it is one of the biggest hits on TV. Take a look.
John, your mother's gone to a lot of trouble making dinner for us. The least we can do is show up on time and pretend to enjoy ourselves.
Hey, whatever we're having, she cooked and froze 2 years ago. She doesn't even know what it is till it melts. Could be stew, could be cake.
Just call her and tell her that we're on our way.
Fine.
If we're late, I'm going to be the one getting the stink eye from your mom and her ugly dog.
Hi, Mom. Just want to let you know we're on our way. Yeah, we're headed down the stairs right now. Molly, watch your step. Oh, dear God, no!
Please welcome Billy Gardell.
One of the greatest comics ever. So nice to meet you.
Sit down. We are excited to talk to you. You got a standing ovation. This is a testament to how much people love the show.
It's a good show. It's a great show.
So I'm going to give a little summary. You play a cop. Yes. You meet Molly, who's she's a single school teacher. Yes. You guys meet at an Overeaters Anonymous meeting. And it's become one of the biggest hits on the network. But, you know, you got some complaints that there are too many fat jokes on the show.
Well, I think we had to address that at the beginning because you can't pretend that doesn't exist, you know? And I'm a stand-up comic. I didn't get this way looking at food. I know I passed by a cake or two in my time, but, you know, it's like anything else. Everybody has a different flaw. I think the thing that people identify with this show is that there are two people that thought they might never fall in love, and they fall in love. They get the chance at making it together, and I think that's something people can root for.
You have incredible...
I'm sorry, what?
Do you try to lose weight?
Yeah, once in a while, Barbara, but what are you going to do?
Okay.
No, I do. You know, I try just like anybody else, but I mean, that's why this role is so wonderful. It's a journey that I'm taking kind of, how do they say, public and private?
Right.
And that's, I think, what makes us have real moments, because I do struggle with it, and I'm doing the best I can, but I'm, you know.
Well, the guy who created this show,
Mark Roberts,
he says that you were your generation's answer to Jackie Gleason.
Wow.
Which I thought was a very big compliment for you, because he was a great, great comedian.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a real honor.
You have his timing. I watched the show, and you're just...
I stole a lot of stuff from him. You could say it.
You can't steal timing. Can't steal that.
We had Hot Topics one day, and we discussed this on the Hot Topics. There was some criticism. A blogger in a magazine called Marie Claire wrote an article, you know, and she said that she would be grossed out, her words, if she had to watch two characters with rolls and rolls of fat kissing each other. And she got a lot of criticism.
I sent her a cake. Look, man, look. Everybody has a right to their opinion. You know, everybody's going to feel that way. You know, that's one woman. And the overwhelming response that came back and said, look, nobody's perfect, man, and these two are just trying to get it together. Absolutely. We really felt that at our show. Plus, a couple weeks ago, we hit 13 million viewers, so I'm going to focus on that.
Show is fantastic, and I love your relationship. And you said the show sort of reminds of like the '70s shows, like the Jeffersons, All in the Family.
Right.
Why?
Well, because the beauty of this show, Mark Roberts is a playwright, so we get a little bit extra with this show. We get moments that are awkward, and moments that you're sad, and moments that you don't feel like you fit in. And I think when you show those honestly, when you ask for the laugh, it comes harder. And I think that we're lucky enough to have I'm lucky enough to have this group of people around me with a dynamic producer like Chuck Lorre with that pedigree of television. And then Jim Burrows directs the thing.
Yeah.
Jimmy Burrows is like playing for a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, and he knows how to do, Cheers, Friends. I mean, these are guys that know that, yeah, we want to get the laugh, but we also want to connect with people. And I think they go that extra.
Speaking of laughter, I mean, you consider yourself more comedian than actor, I know.
Absolutely. If they ever figure that out, I'm done.
You had a show, was it called Winter Park Live in high school?
Wow, you guys do your research, don't you?
It's
like the FBI up there. I did a show when I was 17. We did a show with my drama department, and I wanted to do stand-up, and the way I did it was I built a show around it, like a sketch show. And I think my big sketch was Jackie Gleason as the captain of the Enterprise. You know, I would stand at the elevator and go, Spock, come on down. You know, that was what I did. But the show was actually inspired by I was 17 in 1987, and the show was inspired by what you, Billy Crystal, and Robin Williams did with Comic Relief.
Oh, cool.
And what we did was, what we did was we charged $3, and all the money went to the homeless in Orlando. And the news came down and said, "Look, these kids are doing some cool things." So it was really, it was
That's
like,
great.
It was really
so
neat
if you the sitcom ended at some point, whenever it does, you can, well, you stand up, right?
Oh, absolutely. You got to keep those stand-up bones going. That'll keep you going. Absolutely.
And speaking of the stand-up, on February 5th, you got a stand-up, a Comedy Central special, which is called Billy Gardell Halftime. Now, the topic is about midlife, which I think is where the halftime came from. What other subjects do you talk about?
Are you at midlife already? You look so young.
Well, no, I'm 41.
Well, that's not midlife.
No, that's
for me, it's
I hope it's not midlife.
What I mean by midlife is I think after 40 years, you have to look at yourself, and it's kind of like halftime at a football game. You go, all right, I played a sloppy first half. I got to make some adjustments to win the game. That's all I'm trying to get to.
Speaking of game, you're a Steelers fan.
I am. You say that with such disdain. There you go.
This is you at the last game, which is fantastic, and I'm not a Steelers fan.
I can tell.
We had a rough Super Bowl against you with the Seahawks. Tell me, are you going to the Super Bowl?
I am not going to the Super Bowl because I came back from that game with no voice and pushed our taping back a day, so I won't be going to that.
So for work, you got to present the vocal.
They were fine. They were just like, do you want to go to that? And I don't think I could top that. I was in my hometown on the field, so
that's a pretty cool
moment
right there, with the towel and all.
It was awesome.
The idea that you say you don't feel like you're an actor is kind of odd because you really got. I mean, this is probably why the comparison with Gleason comes so handily to people because, he was also a comic, but also a fantastic actor, and I really like this show.
Well, I allotted that to the cast that I have. Like Melissa McCarthy's just brilliant, and Reno Wilson. They're just. But on top of that, Jim Burrows. I owe that to Jim Burrows. He really knows how to walk you through it.
You're a natural actor.
Take it easy, will you? I'm scared. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Please don't.
Thank you, man.
No, not to me.
Thank you.
No, just because, you are a natural. Yeah.
And
I'm working on it.
And please don't let this be the last time that you come sit on this couch,
talk to you
okay?
ladies anytime.
Thank you. We want to thank Billy Gardell. You can catch Billy on Mike and Molly tonight. Check your local listings. And members of our audience are getting his DVD, Billy Gardell Halftime. We'll be right back with Camille's Grammar. Freaking.
this lady isn't just making headlines as a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. Her split with Kelsey Grammer is all over the tabloids. A marriage she found out was over while cameras were rolling. Take a look.
The doorman looked at me and asked me who I was, and I said, okay, I'm Mrs. Grammer, and they looked at me. And I said, yes, no, I'm Mrs. Grammer. And they said, no, you're not. I said, excuse me, I'm Kelsey Grammer's wife, I'm Camille Grammer. And they looked at me, they go, no, you're not Mrs. Grammer. I was devastated, because somebody's in the apartment as Mrs. Grammer, it's just not me.
Does she not know that she's destroying a family? I felt so bad. She's destroying my family. She's destroying my children. They're gonna be just devastated without their dad.
Please welcome Camille Grammer. So, Camille.
Yes.
Now, you signed up for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. In the beginning, you and Kelsey were happy, happy, happy.
Yes.
And then, by the end of the season, the viewers found out that Kelsey had a girlfriend, and that's how you found out, right?
I found out in the middle, something was going on from the beginning when he left. The first 2 or 3 weeks to him leaving, after he left to go to New York, he stopped calling. And like I said before, he's a very doting husband.
Yeah.
You know, he'd call all the time.
And you had made the deal first with him that he would be in a play in New York,
yes,
and you would stay in L.A., La Cage aux
yes.
Folles. And so you thought that would work?
Well, I was supposed to move in with him after the first month. He said to me, you know, I really need time to rehearse. I mean, I need to focus on my rehearsal, and so we thought it would be good for him to go for the first month.
And then he wasn't returning your calls.
Did he already have the girlfriend when he left?
I don't know.
You don't know when it happened?
I don't know when it happened.
Are you on speaking terms?
No, we don't speak.
Well, you know, one of the things that you said on the reunion show that aired last Thursday, you sort of implied that you hadn't had sex with Kelsey in a couple of years.
Whoa.
You did
Is that
say
true?
That. Is that true? And if so,
We tried.
why are you then surprised that he wanted someone else?
Well, I thought, you know, there's so much more to marriage than sex.
Yeah,
you know?
why weren't you? Why
yes,
weren't
it
you
is a big part
having
of it. You have to ask him that.
Oh, I thought I'd ask you since you're the one who said it. But then why would you be surprised?
You know, we tried.
That maybe he would look elsewhere. You don't have to go into the details.
I get that. I think, you know, we tried, and it's something that just didn't click with us on an intimate level. But we were best friends. And it's too bad that now I lost my best friend.
Well, you know, you also lost a man who wasn't your lover.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Maybe you'll find another one who is.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, we were talking about when he moved to New York last year to do La Cage aux Folles, and you stayed home with the kids. He recently was quoted as saying, "This year's journey is about enhancing love in my life, and Kate is responsible for a great deal of that." Wow. How would that make you? How do you feel when you hear something like that?
I mean, that hurts. That's harsh to hear that.
Now, and then you said you recently met her. How did you guys meet?
I had the children, and he texted me, and he said, Kate and I will be in the lobby to pick up the kids. So I went downstairs and thought that it'd be really good to introduce myself to Kate, because I think it's important for us in front of the children to show that, you know, that we're getting along.
Right. What did you say? What did she say? It must have been a little awkward.
It was awkward at first.
I
think Kelsey was shocked. When I first walked downstairs, he didn't expect me to come, and he was like, you could just see he was steaming.
What do you say to your two little kids when you're introducing?
They met Kate before, so they knew Kate. And my daughter said, Mason, Mom, she's nice. So I went downstairs, and I wanted to know.
Kelsey had the need to introduce her so quickly.
Well, their plans to get married, right?
But I mean,
he did rush it.
He rushed it,
He
didn't
did rush it, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so
a bit impetuous, don't you
think? Well, you know him, so what makes him behave that way, do you think? Is that typical of him?
You know, he wants what he wants right away. You know, he's like that. He's almost like a child.
Well, you've met the woman he's going to marry. You invited to the wedding? I assume the children will be invited.
We haven't even discussed that. I know there's a lot of rumors flying around.
Right.
No, absolutely not. But I want to sit there. That'd be awful.
Go and wear white. Just wear white. That'd be fun.
Just really
tiara, perhaps.
You mentioned there are some rumors going around, so I'm going to give you a chance to clear those up. You're not divorced yet. There's no prenup. You know, obviously people are speculating about how many millions and millions of dollars that you're set to get. There's also a rumor that you're stalling the divorce in order to get even more money.
I want this divorce over with. I want to move on with my life. I can't wait to put it in the past and just, you know, start anew. I'm not stalling. I trust my lawyers that they're doing the right thing. Sure. You know, so what I was doing is really just protecting myself.
There's a lot of money involved in this case. This is not, you know, $300 a month.
No.
This is money, big money.
The house. Well, and you know, I'm protecting my future, especially my children.
Right.
It's really for my kids.
That's right. And you too.
Who gets the house?
The house in Malibu. We'll see. We're working on the settlement right now. We have to discuss that.
Well, you know, Barbara was talking about the Real Housewives, and last week it aired and it got really, really heated. So we're going to see a clip of you. You were confronting Kyle, who is Paris Hilton's aunt.
Yes.
And you didn't get along so well with her on this show, so you confronted her. Let's take a look.
I wanted you on the show, so why wouldn't I?
Me all the time, and
quit using the buzzword of the moment, Camille, okay?
Oh, no.
Oh, bully. Who advised you to use that word?
And you started the whole delusional thing, so everybody in America thinks I'm delusional.
No, because you say things that aren't true, Camille. You've done it to yourself.
That is not, I am not a liar. I don't lie.
Are you going to be on again next year?
I don't know.
Why
I'm still
don't you know?
deciding. I go back and forth all the time.
Is it up to you to decide? I mean, have they asked you to come back? Because there is some friction. I mean, it helps the show, but...
Well, technically, we haven't been signed on for a second season yet, so we don't know yet.
Do you want to do it?
I'm not sure.
The friction is good for the show. You know, they love
Absolutely.
that. The more hair pulling, the better. But, you know, that's true. But when you see headlines calling you the most hated, what do they call you? The most hated housewife in the history of all the housewives.
I worked really hard at that. No.
Why would they say that about you? To me, you're like, in a certain way, you're the one who's been left. So why are you the most hated?
I don't know.
Get that.
I don't get that either. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
You don't feel that it would put things in jeopardy if you continued with the show in terms of settling things personally, divorce-wise, etc., or is it?
You know, when I started the show, I was in a different situation. I was married.
Right.
Now I'm not. I'm going to be a single mom, so, you know.
How long were you married to him again?
13 years.
13.
It's a long time.
Camille, you have said that you were deliberately made to look bad on the show.
I have felt
to be
that
the villain.
at times.
So you're really not the person that they've seen on it?
No.
No?
No, it's not the person I
why-
see in the
why
mirror.
even consider going back?
Just to have
I know.
more friction? They would do
I don't
that?
know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, they want drama for the show. Shows like that, you know.
That's right.
That's how they get the audience.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm always curious. Why did you say yes to this?
I didn't want to do it. Kelsey wanted me to.
Yes, but why did you say yes?
Why did I finally say yes?
Yeah.
Because I respected him as a talent, and I thought, you know, he might know something that I'm not onto. You know?
Why did you say yes to what?
To the Beverly Hills.
the show.
Doing the show.
Yeah,
I thought, you know, he's a talented actor. He's been a
But
successful
you didn't have a
producer. Why
showbiz
not?
career before that, so now you do. So it was not really a bad decision.
It was a good diversion at the time. I'm
But
going
you
through
were
this
with
whole-
Kelsey you were with Kelsey. You helped him with his drug addiction. You guys are partners in production, partners on the show Medium. I mean, you've been with him through a great deal of stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
I know, but they weren't having sex for 2 years. You know what that means. I don't care how much service, as long as they're getting a
deal
little
of stuff that they went through.
Camille, thank you so much for coming on and clearing up a lot of stuff. We do want to thank. Absolutely, we want to thank Camille Grammer. Part 2 of the reunion of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills airs tomorrow night on Bravo. We'll be right back.
You learned a lot today, so did we. Barbara's going to talk more about the special tomorrow. Until then, have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy The View.